Welcome back to another review for the EOC U.S. History test. All right, so today we're going to look at geography, okay? Basically, it's going to be a little random, but the theme that we're going to look at today is specifically what are the different geographic locations that you need to be aware of for the STAAR test, okay? So the first thing that I'm going to need all U.S. history students to know where they are is that on the right side of the United States, this is the Atlantic Ocean. And if the Atlantic Ocean is on the right side, the Pacific is on the left or the west hand side, okay? All right, so one of the first things that we are going to talk about is going to be the Alaskan Gold Rush, okay? So up here, we're gonna go up north, okay? So this is, This is Alaska. One of the things that you need to know about Alaska is the way that a huge number of people settled in Alaska was because of the Klondike Gold Rush. So just think, Klondike, frozen, Alaska, cold, okay? So there's a couple of things that we want you to know about the Klondike Gold Rush, okay? So obviously they're all moving to Alaska because gold was discovered in the Klondike. But there are kind of two different groups that we're going to talk about. The first group, and these are going to tend to be a little bit more wealthy. Okay, so they're coming from a little bit more money. So we are going to talk about, I'm going to turn this sideways. A group called stampeders. Okay, so a stampede is when like a massive group of usually animals are running in the same direction. So people called the Alaskan stampeders, okay? That's the huge group that's going to move to Alaska. All right, so I'm going to say some stampeders sailed around Some stampeders sailed around Alaska and up the Yukon River. Okay, so some are going to sail around and then up the river. However, others, they don't have that money. So when I say other S's, other stampeders, they crossed glaciers. So glaciers are like the massive blocks of ice, okay? Many got lost. Or went snowblind. Yes, that is a thing. There's a reason that many like goggles that you wear whenever you go snow skiing, there's a reason that many of them have film in them for shade, because snow and sunlight really bright causes blindness if you just stare at it, All right. So that information is pretty much going to cover everything that has been asked about the Klondike Gold Rush. All right. So let's move down just a little bit. And we're going to come into an area of the U.S. history test that is Unit 3, which is going to be the rise of a world power, imperialism. And imperialism is going to start right here. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Hawaii. Okay? You need to know where Hawaii is. So, what do we need to know about said Hawaii? Well, the first thing that you need to know about Hawaii is that strategically, it is important to the military for naval bases and new trade markets and raw materials. Okay? So, it is important to the military for naval bases. It is important for new trade markets, so places to sell and purchase goods. And it is important for raw materials. All right, so the next major piece is going to be over here. We have Sanford Dole and the U.S. Marines helped overthrow the Queen of Hawaii, Queen Liliuokalani. I don't think we're going to have the Queen's name on there, but, who knows. So, this is why Hawaii was strategically important. Okay? All right, the next thing that we're going to look at is also in the era that we're talking about with imperialism and rise of a world power, and it's going to come at the end of the Spanish-American War. So, we're going to go to Central America, and we are talking about the area that is right here, okay? What is this? This is the Panama Canal. Okay? So the Panama Canal is going to do 3 things. Okay? All right, so the first thing that I want you to write about the Panama Canal is going to be that it allowed ships to sail east to west without sailing around South America. Obviously, if you think about it, if a ship needs to get from here to here, before this canal existed, they had to sail all the way around the tip of South America and then back up. Okay? This is going to give them access that they can sail just through this canal to the west. The next important thing is obviously for cargo and trade, it's going to be faster and cheaper. Okay? There is a large but. It was extremely dangerous. The construction was extremely dangerous because of mosquitoes carrying yellow fever. Okay? Now, obviously it was dangerous construction in general. I mean, when you have a company that was part of your construction company that their job was to make prosthetic limbs, you know that this is going to be a dangerous job, okay? But for the STAAR test, you need to know that one of the biggest dangers was the mosquitoes carrying disease, okay? All right, so that was the rise of a new power, okay? All right, so next we are going to look at population shifts, okay? So right under here, so below where you wrote about Hawaii, you're going to write population shifts, and we're going to look specifically at these areas. The very first population shift that we're going to look at is going to be rural to urban. Okay, so rural is outside of the city. Urban is the city. Okay, so people moved to the cities from the country to work in industrial and factory jobs. What is this going to do? It's going to lead to densely populated and polluted cities. Okay, so people moved to cities from the country to work in industrial and factory jobs. A lot of the urbanization is going to take place during the Gilded Age and the Progressive Era. Okay, so it led to densely populated cities. All right, our next population shift is going to be the Great Migration. All right, so with the Great Migration, African Americans moved out of the Jim Crow South to northern cities and into the West for better opportunities. Okay, so African Americans moved out of the Jim Crow South to northern cities and West for better opportunities. And then the next one is going to be one that we just studied about, and that is the Rust Belt to the Sun Belt. Okay, so what area are we talking about? So the area that we're looking at, this area up here, is the Rust Belt. Okay, why was it called the Rust Belt? It was called the Rust Belt because if you think about what steel and metal do after they get old, they rust. This was the area of steel production, ore mining, so coal mining, all of this. This was the Rust Belt. So during this time period, people are going to move from the Rust Belt to the South and the Southwest because they want better climate and they want more job opportunities. This area down here, all of this is the Sun Belt. Why? It's sunny, it's hot. And obviously people are not moving to the Sun Belt until there's air conditioning, I'm just saying. Okay? So those are the areas that I want you to put on your map.